Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm awesome. How are you?
Well, I'm good. I don't know if I'm awesome, but I'm okay. I mean, it's all right. I'm glad you're awesome. I want to live up to that. Hey, an interesting trend among campgrounds across the country. Think about camping. When you go camping, what do you typically do when you go camping?
I don't go camping.
Well, I know you don't go camping, but in your mind, somebody who was maybe planning on going camping, what would they be doing while they were camping?
Eating s'mores.
S'mores, maybe having a little fire here and there, walking on nature trails, surfing the internet. What's that one again? Yeah. The biggest trend this year is when people go to a campground, their biggest question is, do you have internet? So many campgrounds now offer free, high-speed wireless internet, and they can't rent their camping spaces without it. So
that doesn't surprise me. Does that surprise you at all? That doesn't surprise me.
No, but you'd think you'd want to get away from it all. You'd really want to get away from it all.
Could you?
I could, yeah.
No, you could,
I could
not.
It would require some planning in advance, but I certainly could.
Oh my gosh, you are so full of it.
Okay, well, one of these days, I'll just prove it to you.
Okay.
Coming up in a bit, we've got some other fun stuff to talk about, like a professor working on time travel. Oh, yeah. He says he's got it all figured out. We'll chat about that in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Thank you so much for joining us on a Wednesday. I'll tell you, one of my favorite trilogies of all time is Back to the Future.
Yes, it is.
I love that. I could watch those three movies over and over and over and over and over. I've watched it a lot of times. This is actually the anniversary. We're sneaking up on the anniversary of the date that they went to in the future. But there's a physics professor at the University of Connecticut. He claims to have designed a working time machine. I don't know if there's a DeLorean involved, but he said he's done it. University of Connecticut. You can go online and read all the details. I don't have time to do it all here, but he says he has a working time machine.
I don't know.
So I don't know how to prove that right or wrong, because here's the thing. If he said, I'm going to prove it to you, I'm going to go back in time and make this happen, when that happened, we would simultaneously all know that that's what happened in the past, because when it changed, we wouldn't know that it changed. We would just know that's what it always has been.
Right.
So you could say, I'm going to make, President so-and-so, and I'm going to go back and make this happen. And we would know that as the history that we always knew. So I don't know how he could prove this. It's going to be interesting. So he may be a crackpot. We have no clue. I don't know.
Unless he could change something in the future.
But how do you change? Again, this is interesting stuff. We could have a debate. We could talk about this for an hour. I'm going to just move on. You've got some ringing bells in your future. I can tell that. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
Do you like the sounds of bells ringing?
I suppose.
Do you dislike
What a
the
random
sound?
question.
No, I think it's a really cool sound. I don't know why that is, but like a church bell ringing. Bing, bing.
Okay.
I just think that's a beautiful sound. And that's one of the coolest things about going to a church or having a church in your community that has a church bell. But listen to this. There are people in the neighborhood that don't like that. That's what happens in Frankfurt, Germany. Several complaints from residents in that community caused a court order to come to a church in the community. Says they don't have to stop ringing the bells, they just have to ring them more softly from now on or pay a heavy fine. I know there are some churches that no longer have the actual bell, but they have like a speaker in the bell tower and it plays the sounds of a bell.
Right.
And I think part of it is for that very reason, so they can adjust the volume accordingly.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy. But I can't imagine being, how bad would this, how loud must this bell have been?
Unless they're going off at like 2 a.m. or something.
I don't know. But this happened in Frankfurt, Germany, and the bell was driving people nuts, and they said, that's it. I want that bell to stop.
Wouldn't it be lovely to have nothing else to worry about?
I know. I used to live in a community where I lived by the railroad tracks, and the train would drive by at night, and never once did I call the train and say, hey, can you guys make those things quieter? I chose to live there. I didn't have to. They moved in. I bet that church has been there. If it's got a big, bell tower, I bet that was there when they moved in.
Way before those people moved in, I'm sure.
So they moved in and said, hey, you need to pipe down with all this bell ringing in the neighborhood. So, yeah, like you said, it'd be great if we had nothing else to complain about.
Wouldn't that be great?
Than that. Coming up in a moment, we have your Brain on Drugs, and I've got a great guest on the program today. Super excited to talk to best-selling author Susan Mallory, and she's got a new book out called Thrill Me. We're going to be visiting with Susan about her really cool series of books that she has, and going to chat a little bit about the new one that's out, and we'll talk about some of the others as well. That is all on the way on this Wednesday edition of The John and Heidi Show.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your Brain on Drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your Brain on Drugs. Ladies, if you get a DUI, you might have a good defense. And I guess not just ladies, men who wear high heels too. Attorney Bill Thomas of Durham, North Carolina, has created a new defense for women accused of DUI, the high heel excuse. Thomas argued that the sobriety test is unfair. It required my client to walk a long straight line, pivot quickly, and stand on one foot for 30 seconds, all of which was impossible because she was wearing 3.5-inch stiletto heels at the time. And he said when wearing such shoes, that will make you wiggle. He claimed that under the circumstances, she did remarkably well by balancing on one foot for 16 seconds. Listen to this. The judge agreed, invalidated the test, and tossed out the case.
Okay, now I can see that, having been somebody who wears heels from time to time.
Yeah.
I can see what they're saying there, but what was her blood alcohol level?
I don't know.
I mean, that should have
exactly
invalidated everything. And if her blood alcohol level came back okay, there shouldn't have been an issue, period.
Here's the other thing. I don't know. This is maybe just me being a dumb guy. Couldn't she have taken the heels off to walk that straight line?
Right.
Take the heels off then. You don't want to wear the heels? Take them off. Walk the straight line barefooted. I don't care. But apparently that's the new thing. So if you get a DUI and you got high heels, you can thank Attorney Bill Thomas for a new excuse to get out of that one. And this has been your Brain on Drugs.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Some people say smoking a cigarette is hazardous to your health. There's a lot of people that say that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But there are people who know Tim Green from Omaha that say it's very hazardous to his health. Here's what happened. He found this out the hard way. Cancer was not the least of his worries. His big worry when he was lighting a cigarette, he used a propane torch. He ended up starting a fire in his garage, which left him hospitalized and in critical condition with third-degree burns. That's not smart. So don't light your cigarette with a giant torch.
Does anybody really need to be... Well, apparently somebody needs to be told that because...
Yeah, so he gets to be our moment of duh today. I hope he's okay. Tim Green from Omaha area, again, caught his house, not his house, his detached garage on fire when he lit a cigarette with a giant propane torch. Yeah, not a good plan. Hey, coming up in a bit, we do have a special guest. We're going to be talking to best-selling author Susan Mallory. Her new book, Thrill Me, is out, and we're going to chat about that after our Scoop of the Day, which is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
And this is your Scoop of the Day. A North Charleston, South Carolina police officer has been fired after posting a photo on Facebook of him dressed only in a Confederate flag underwear. He was wearing underwear that was like a Confederate flag pattern. Do you think that's a reason to get fired?
Well, I suppose... You don't post photos of yourself in your underpants.
Well, what if he would have been wearing swimming trunks and he was at the pool?
But that's different, John.
I don't know. I suppose it is. Maybe it is. Hey, Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign has an item they're selling. It's a beer koozie called the Chiller Pack, and it's dubbed the Chillery for Hillary.
I'm not even going to comment.
On. A dispute about backyard grilling in St. Petersburg, Florida, has the whole neighborhood up in flames. Cell phone video captured a discussion between brothers Dwayne and Chris Matt A county environmental inspector, Joe Graham, who visited their home to address a recent complaint about smoke and odor coming from their barbecue. Graham asked the men to try to contain the smoke from their grill into their yard per a county ordinance that he read to them. Although barbecuing is legal, the county ordinance prohibits air pollution. So now they're saying your barbecuing is polluting air.
We've read this.
Yeah, we talked about it.
There was a neighbor
but
that complained.
A little more detail there that I came up with. That's from last week. Scientists have recently discovered that many kinds of bacteria do not operate independently. Instead, they seem to communicate with each other and only go to work causing an infection. For example, when they decide they have reached the critical mass they need to get the job done.
Huh.
So, like, there's bacteria that it's fine on its own, but when it's around other bacteria, they kind of team up, and it's like mob mentality or something. I don't know exactly what that means. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not even pretending to be one on the radio. Hey, the average person should ingest 2,000 calories per day, which makes it so incredible that the Cheesecake Factory's shrimp pasta bistro contains 3,120 calories in one serving. So they're saying the average person's only supposed to have 2,000 calories in a day. But the good news is you could eat that over the course of a couple of days. Can ice cream be considered a health food? 2 days in a row we talk about ice cream. Not quite. But if you're trying to lose weight and you have uncontrollable urges to snack on sinful foods, ice cream is the best bet, according to Center for Human Nutrition at the University of Colorado. Ice cream is loaded with calcium, an important mineral that bumps fat cells out of your and into your bloodstream where they'll be burned off. They say ice cream seems to work best on belly fat, which has been linked to metabolic syndrome and a complex host of conditions that can lead to heart disease. So there they go. All that wonderful info. The battery of the future could be made from paper. Can you imagine having a battery out of paper? You'd be able to cut your battery into pieces and crunch it into a ball and roll it up into a tube and any other shape required to power the ever-growing array of electronic devices that are hitting the market at lightning speed. New battery would consist of paper that's been infused with an electrolyte substance and microscopic carbon nanotubules, and they form electrodes. Current flows from one side of the paper to the other. Even more amazing, the paper battery also functions as a capacitor, and it's a device that stores electricity. So you'd be able to charge it up, then wad it up and stick it in your pocket, and then stuff it into your cell phone whenever you need some. This is kind of a crazy idea.
So is it rechargeable? Like once you put that in your
it
device,
says you'd be able
you can recharge it?
You'd be able to charge this up, and then when you're ready for more, you'd charge it back up. Yeah, so you'd be able to charge it. So that's a paper.
That is bizarre.
Yeah, bizarre. Hey, we got a strange law here. I'm so glad I got to this because for whatever reason, I don't think I understood anything I read today. Did you understand anything I read
Not
today?
much. That's why I've been pretty quiet. I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know if I'm reading it wrong or if these are just... I feel completely lost. But our strange law. In Illinois, you can receive a fine of up to $1,000 for beating rats with a baseball bat. So if you have rats, you're supposed to kill them another way, not with a baseball bat.
Yeah, that's a little inhumane.
That's a weird law, and it's very specific. So, what if this is a softball bat? If it's a softball bat hit, you must acquit. No?
Good Lord.
You don't think so? All
no.
Right. Thank you so much for listening. That's your strange law, and this has been your scoop of the day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. We've got a special guest on the line right now. We have New York Times and USA Today best-selling author Susan Mallory, and she's made Fool's Gold, California, one of the most beloved mythical towns in the country. And there's a ton of books in this series now, and the newest, the latest, and the greatest is out now. I've got a copy of it in my hand. It's cool. It's called Thrill Me. Susan Mallory, how you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing great as well, and I'm excited to talk to you about your new book, Thrill Me. It's the newest in the Fool's Gold series. How many books do you have now in the Fool's Gold series?
You know, that is a fascinating question. I've been doing the trilogies every summer, and this is my 6th year. So we're around book 18, but there have also been e-novellas and some little Christmas books. So
nice.
More. Having said that, I will say that the books they take place in the same town, but I'm very careful. My goal is always to write them so a reader can just say, this sounds like a good book to me, and start reading right in the middle, and there's not a problem. I don't like when I pick up a book and I'm lost because I needed to read the first 17 books. I don't want to do that to anybody. So I always work to make sure each book stands on its own.
And the thing that's nice about that, if somebody listening maybe picks up Thrill Me, your new book that's out, and they fall in love with it, they can go back and read all of those other books, and it's not like it's going to be completely out of order either.
Exactly. They'll see some people who are obviously a couple and would have had their own book, and then the one that's the most intriguing, usually that's what people do. They'll just read the current book and then say, oh, I like that couple, and then go read their book, and then, oh, in that book there's another couple, and then eventually they start at the beginning and read all the way through, which is what I love. So, but yes, they are very much standalones, but it's fun. The town has been very successful, and I love it, and I'm so grateful my readers love it because they're the ones who decide what I do next.
That's awesome. Now, again, the book that's out right now is called Thrill Me, and this is kind of a fun thing. In the book, we meet Maya Farlow, and she's been hired to promote her hometown's new slogan, the destination for romance. Now, I love that. I want that for my hometown.
I know. Isn't that great? It's really fun. Well, Fool's Gold has evolved as a town, and so the destination for romance came up. Actually, that was a reader who suggested that. We do tons of stuff on Facebook. Readers help me name characters and name businesses, and in this case came up with the destination for romance. And then in return, I put either their first or last name in a book. So it's very fun for both of us. We do a lot of that on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook. And I get a lot of help from readers because it can be daunting to name a bunch of stuff.
So if I went on your Facebook page and gave you an idea, you would name a character after me?
I would. And in fact, in the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'm starting a new book, and that's always when I panic. So I will ask for names from everything from characters to businesses to a pet. I put readers' pets in books. And sometimes it's very funny. I will go on and say, you know, she is the really horrible, horrible ex-wife. So who would like to submit a name?
I better be
Please
nice.
Make it your own.
I'm going to be
someone else's.
I'm going to be really nice in this interview, or I'm going to end up either being a really bad person, or I'll be a guy that gets killed off or something. So.
Well, I don't write mysteries, so I can't actually kill anyone in a book. Although I have mystery writer friends, and they do that.
Oh wow!
But yes, if someone's super annoying, they will be a dead parent. I don't know how much romance you're familiar with, but a lot of the parents are dead, and I have no problem if someone has been annoying to make them a dead parent.
That is awesome. Now, again, visiting with Susan Mallory, best-selling author, and she's got a new book out, Thrill Me. You have kind of a different connection with your readers than many people. Let's talk about that.
I think I have a really close relationship with my readers. I hope that they think so, too. I love my readers. I've been writing a very long time. I sold my first book when I was just out of college, and the only way to sustain a career is to write what people want to read, and fortunately, we seem to share taste. So I love the interaction. For me, it's the best of all worlds. I spend my day alone with a little dog and 2 jumbo cats. So to have that interaction with real human beings is so exciting, and we all love books. So when I get to be with my readers, it's the best. And social media has allowed me to no longer be by myself all day. I get to go hang out on Facebook, and we do all kinds of things together, and I enjoy it, and they update me on their lives, and I really feel like I'm a part of their family. So it's spectacular.
Well, that is awesome. Congratulations on the success. Susan Mallory, the book Thrill Me. It's available wherever you like to buy books. Thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And is there a website that I can go to see all of your books?
Absolutely. It's SusanMallory.com, and there's a lot to see. There's a tab on Fool's Gold, so you can explore the whole Fool's Gold world. There's a printable backlist. Don't be frightened. It's very, very long. And so, yeah, you can see everything I've written and what's coming up, and I believe there's even a coupon for Thrill Me. So for those of you who, like I do, get incredible joy from the words, I have a coupon, there's a coupon.
Well, Susan, thank you again for visiting with us. Folks, get out there and check it out. It is called Thrill Me from Susan Mallory. Thank you for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by carsforsale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at carsforsale.com.
Today is a very special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Today is Wednesday, the 5th day of August. Happy birthday to everybody out there that celebrates birthdays today. We used to say that all the time, and we never do that anymore.
Yeah.
Happy birthday if you have one today. But today is National Oyster Day. I've never had an oyster.
You
Your
know,
parents like oysters.
yeah, they do. And my family always made oyster stew for Christmas, and I never did try it.
Did you try it?
I never did.
Oh, see, I've had people that love it. I don't know why. It doesn't look good to me, and I maybe I should try it. Probably should. Another thing today is National Underwear Day. You got to think about this. There has to be a day for that too. You got days for everything
There
else.
doesn't have to be a day for
sure
anything.
There does. There's days for everything. So today's National Underwear Day. So hopefully we're all celebrating by wearing underwear. And you can go get some oysters and top it off. All right, that's going to do it for your special day. Today is Wednesday, the 5th day of August. Thanks for joining us on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
A child prodigy. You know what that is, right?
Yeah, smart kid.
Yeah. So when is a child prodigy not a child prodigy? When he fools scientists into thinking that he is one. The Department of Science and Technology in India sent what they believe to be a 13-year-old child prodigy to Germany to meet and interact with Nobel Prize winners. They ended up being embarrassed because it became very obvious the child was not a prodigy at all. I can hardly say that, which should have been rather obvious from the get-go. The agency believed the boy's claims with no proof or verification. Claims that should have been an obvious load of garbage to any agency claiming to be the Department of Science and Technology. The boy claimed to have discovered a new fundamental particle which has a consciousness. And he claimed to have written a book entitled Electrogravity Unification. And with the Department of Science and Technology, they say that they're shocked to learn that he wasn't what he claimed to be, but they should have been shocked since the same thing happened to them 5 years ago.
Whatever.
When one of their other child prodigy can you say it for me?
Prodigies.
One of their other child prodigies turned out to be a fake as well. They believed his claim that he could turn water into gasoline by mixing the water with a secret herb. So this is the second time in 5 years that the folks there in India, they're like, hey, we got another prodigy on our hands. This guy's really smart. And all he had to do is tell them, hey, guys, I'm a prodigy. You should send me to Germany now. So,
wow.
Twice in 5 years. So I remember.
I would think that they learned their lesson now.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
And are going to do a little bit of background checking before they just say, hey, we got another genius.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, there were news stories about these prodigy children that were going to college when they're like 10 years old, 11 years old. You know,
like Doogie Howser.
Yeah, and yeah, that's right. He was a prodigy.
Yes, he
Not
was.
the real guy, but the character. And I always thought how awful that would be. You know, I wouldn't mind being smart, but it would be terrible being in college when you're like 10 or 15 or something. That'd just be, I don't think that'd be fun.
Oh, I don't think that'd be terrible at all. Can you imagine the special treatment you would get from all of those people?
I bet it'd be special, all right.
It wouldn't be rough. You never went to college. College was awesome.
Yeah, I bet it'd be real special.
No,
you
it
get
would.
picked on in school when you're just a little bit smaller than everybody else.
Not in college. College is
right.
different.
There you go. Coming up, we're going to talk about how dirty your car is. Yuck! It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Apparently, driving is more dangerous than it is unhealthy. A microbiologist from Britain's Aston University found the typical car has 283 different types of bacteria in every square inch. Ugh.
Oh.
That's kind of gross. The dirtiest part of the vehicle is where?
Steering wheel?
No, the gear stick, where you like shift. The shifter area. Home to 356 germs per square inch. Drivers with children and pets found to have more germs than people who don't. The study conducted for insuranceco.uk found British motorists spend more than 3 years of their life behind the wheel, and over a quarter eat in their car every week. 1 in 4 car owners said their car is littered with food wrappers and empty drink bottles, while 1 in 6 admittedly regularly leave uneaten food in their vehicle.
I bet those numbers would be higher in the United States.
Probably, because
the number of people eating behind the.
Yeah, we eat on the go all the time.
Almost everybody does.
Yeah.
I mean, you drive around here and you look at any car around you, and almost everyone is eating something.
Driving, eating something.
Yeah.
Like, what do they got over there? That is crazy. they're cracking open clamshells in that car. And these guys have back here. This is nuts. They're eating soup while they're driving. How did that? So yeah, it's probably a bigger number here. All right, coming up in a moment, guess what we're going to talk about?
What's that?
Some people wearing masks rushing into a Taco Bell. Oh,
All
would that
right.
freak you out? We're going to tell
Probably.
you what they were up to on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Let me set the scene for you, Heidi. Imagine you're sitting in Taco Bell and you're enjoying whatever they sell you there at Taco Bell. I haven't been to one in a long time. Having a chalupa, that's what I've had there. So you're sitting there, snarfing down your chalupa, minding your own business, and 15 guys come rushing in wearing masks. You know something's up, right?
Okay.
You probably would freak out just a little bit.
Yeah.
But in this case, this Taco Bell in Grant County, Indiana, the masked men, they were not there to take anything but to leave something. The men were toting 6 40-gallon trash bags filled with individual packets of taco sauce, 25,000 estimated in all. Nobody counted them, I'm sure. They left a note saying they collected these packets over the span of the last 3 years. They were going to use them for a practical joke, but they decided against it, and they returned the packets to Taco Bell. But they got their practical joke afterwards because they came rushing in wearing masks and freaked everybody else out. So they made national news. Whatever they were going to do with the taco sauce. I wonder what they were going to do.
I'd kind of like to know what they were going to do with the taco sauce.
Don't know, but I bet it would have been interesting. Coming up, we're going to talk about the best snacks to pick you up. That is on the way. Thanks for joining us on a Wednesday on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
You ever need a pick-me-up, Heidi?
Yes.
If you need a pick-me-up, in between meal snacks, they've taken a lot of heat for their warning against obesity, but there's 10 healthy treats that will soothe your grumbling belly and give you a little boost of energy. Number 1 on the list, dried apricots, or apricots, however you want to say it. A great source of iron, vitamin A, fiber, and protein. Another one, fresh peaches.
I like peaches.
Eat a peach for fiber, niacin, potassium, beta-carotene, and vitamin C. A fistful of almonds. Crunch through those for a low cholesterol, low sodium treat. How about a little bit of raisins? Get a healthy low-fat snack that's rich in potassium, phosphorus, iron, and copper. If you like yogurt, dive in. 6 ounces of this tasty treat offers riboflavins, vitamin B12, and calcium. Sesame sticks. What is that? Sesame sticks.
I don't know.
A single ounce contains 3 grams of protein. I think that's kind of like a cracker, but it's a little stick.
I don't know.
Sesame seeds on it. I think that's what that is. Baby carrots, teeming with beta-carotene and vitamin A, B, C, B6, C, whatever. We've got a bunch of stuff on there. Also, iron, copper, and potassium. Baby carrots are the way to go. Dried soybeans, high in fiber, protein, iron, and potassium. Another thing on the list of 10 snacks that pick you up, low-fat peanut butter, a great source for protein. And celery. Those two go hand in hand, by the way. Loaded with fiber and minerals. You ever have celery and peanut butter?
Celery and peanut butter.
We should get some celery. And
we have
should
some
get
celery.
Some peanut butter.
And we have some peanut butter.
I know what I'm having for my low-fat snack. And the last thing on the list of 10 snacks to pick you up, we've got low-fat string cheese. Quick and easy source for protein and calcium. So there you go. On that list, I would say...
I like most everything on there.
Me too.
I don't know what the sesame sticks are.
Yeah,
but...
I think if I know what I think I know what they are, and I think they're good. Like you'll see them on a salad bar here and there once in a while.
Okay.
I'll have to point them out next time I see some. And the other one on there that I don't know if I've seen recently is dried soybeans. You don't see those around a lot. But everything else on that list sounds pretty darn yummy. Now I'm getting hungry. We're going to go grab something to eat. We'll be back in a little while. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
We always try to wrap this program up with something positive, something kind of uplifting. And a Boston bus driver gave me a really nice, positive, uplifting story.
Okay, good.
A Boston bus driver's 90-second pit stop put a smile on a lot of people's faces. His name is John Lowen. He's a bus driver, has been for about 20 years. He stopped at a neighborhood lemonade stand in West Roxbury, a neighborhood in southwest Boston. And he treated his 7 passengers to a cold cup of lemonade to cool them off.
That's nice.
The small gesture left the passengers grinning from ear to ear, and it also made the day for the 4 young girls running the lemonade stand. Lowen paid them $10 for $3.50 worth of lemonade. So,
that is so sweet.
very sweet. And bitter, too. It's lemonade. No, it's good stuff. If you, just the other day, we were driving down the road. We saw a lemonade stand.
We did.
And I said I'd like to stop. We were going
did not.
somewhere.
We were late,
Yeah.
as usual, for something.
We were running behind. Imagine that. And we read a story not too long ago. What was the deal? Oh, the lemonade is more expensive now than it's ever been. Because it used to be, they did like a national average on lemonade stands. Do they get this from the IRS? Where do they get these numbers? Do
Well,
think kids
you know
turn
what?
these
They
in?
honestly are cracking down on lemonade
It is
stands, and I
crazy.
think it's awful.
Well, anyway, they had done I think we read a story a couple weeks ago where the kids were charging $1 now when they used to charge 50 cents.
It was like 10 cents when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, if you got a quarter, you were like, wow, this guy, he's
Yeah.
like a marketing genius. He's getting a quarter for his lemonade. And in the story that we read, there was a trick that some kids discovered. They spelled the word lemonade wrong, and they increased their sales, doubled their sales. So kiddos, if you're doing a lemonade stand, spell the word lemonade wrong, and adults will actually spend more money with you.
Well,
That's what they
remember,
found.
our daughter had a lemonade stand
Yes.
here a few years ago, and
It
she
was
was
a
doing a
fundraiser.
fundraiser for the veterans.
Yes, for the honor flight.
And she spelled on her sign V-Trains.
Yeah, she didn't do that on purpose.
No,
she just
not
didn't
on
know how to
purpose. She
spell
just didn't
veterans.
know how to spell it.
Lemonade
But
for V-Trains.
Our chief of police said, I bought some lemonade from your daughter. She was raising money for the V-Trains.
Oh, she's such a good kid. All right. Thank you so much for listening. It's time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And we've made it here to the bonus break, which happens to be brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. And I encourage you to go there and check out their videos. They got some cute videos. Very, very silly, very, very fun stuff. And if you haven't had a chance to check that out yet, please do so. Again, Facebook.com/ no, what am I talking about? It's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Got the slash part right. Hey, Roger Yost and William Eisberg were arrested in Fairbanks after they tried to get a 500-pound safe out of the door of a Moose Lodge. Who knows? They might have gotten away with it, except they had no real way of getting it home once they got it out anyway. They were riding bicycles.
Oh, my goodness.
So they got a 500-pound safe out of the door, and once they got out of the door, they got caught. But I don't know what their plan was, because they had bicycles. Did they think they were going to get this home on bicycles? This apparently was not a well-thought-out plan.
So I've been into Moose Lodges before.
Can't
and
imagine it was loaded down
No.
with a bunch of dough. Maybe it's just the ones that I've seen.
Maybe it's just the ones in our area, but they
Yeah.
aren't typically like Caesar Palace or anything.
Yeah. If there's anybody that's got a lot of money, it's got to be those
It's got
mooses.
to be the Moose Lodge.
Those mooses got the money. All right, a police officer in Bollnäs, Sweden, I don't know if I'm saying that even close to right, they confessed that he robbed a bank. Then he returned to the same bank an hour later as a lead investigator of the crime. His colleagues became suspicious when he bought a new car for $3,140 cash using money from the robbery. So a police officer confessed that he was the one that robbed the bank.
Wow.
And then he came back, like I said, an hour later as the lead investigator on that bank robbery.
There aren't any clues. Can't find a thing.
No clues,
That's
no.
a shame.
Wow.
Let's just wrap this
How
up.
tall was the guy? I don't know. He was about your height? About my height. Why did you point me out of all people? What was he wearing? Well, he had the same
wearing
shoes
that
you have.
outfit right there.
He had a mustache like yours. I think it was you. All right. 24-year-old Danzler L. Thomas of Minneapolis allegedly tried to rob a grocery store, but he tripped himself up when he put his gun on the counter so he could scoop up the cash. The clerk was thinking quickly, and he grabbed the gun.
Oh, hey, good job.
And he turned it toward the would-be robber, who then ran away. So, yeah, that
That
didn't
is
work out so hot for
fantastic.
you. Didn't work out so hot for the dumb guy. So, dumb criminals, again, making our job a little more fun. You know, one of these days, just imagine if all these people ganged up and they came and wanted to meet up with us for talking about how dumb they are. Answer the door. Hello, can I help you? Yeah, John here. Who are you? One of them dumb criminals? Let me go get him. Troy! Put our son, send him out. I wouldn't do that. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the bonus break, brought to you by dollarshaveclub.com/radio.